Hello everyone, my name is Pao and this is my first time making a guide. Um, this is a guide to my Frenzy of Onslaught Slayer that I have been running for the past 3 or so leagues. Uh, be it the wand version, the claw, the sword, running the ice bite or the added lightning, running the alas or running the Shako. It's all the same, it's Frenzy of Onslaught. And Frenzy for the wand. So to start off, what is Frenzy of Onslaught? Frenzy of Onslaught is an attack skill, strike skill, deals a tons amount of damage. 10% more attack damage per frenzy charge, 10% more attack speed per frenzy charge. So the more frenzy charges you have, the more damage you have. So we pair this with Masterful Form to get enough endurance charges to have a good defensive layer for our build, because in the end we will have around 13 endurance charges, and I will explain the links first. So first off is volatility. We are running the lightning version and not the cold version, so volatility, tons of damage. So you can see it's 56% more. Multi-strike, awakened multi-strike, more attack speed. Endurance charge on melee stun, since we have 13, it's about 52%. If you do not have the same amount, you can run another skill gem. If you are not reflect immune, you can run awakened elemental damage with attacks for reflect immune, and you can also swap it with almost any other gem. Volatility and multi strike is our standard staples. Okay, so let's go to the other skills. So we have Berserk, Mark on Hit, Assassin's Mark, and Life Tap, Curse on Hit setup. We have our Leap Slam, Momentum, faster attacks for our movement. We have Blood Rage and Frost Bomb. Frost Bomb is for healing mobs. Blood Rage, just attack speed. Sigil of Power. So Sigil of Power is a little important for this build. It grants us a lot of added lightning damage and less damage while at maximum stages. What I currently have on is level 22, which is actually bad because I can't reach the maximum stages. When using the Sigil of Power, get the max quality and get a lower level, just enough so that you can reach the max stages easily when fighting uniques and rare mobs. So at around level 12 to 16, it's around 233 mana each stage. So our mana cost is 212, so it means around 4 seconds and you get max stages, and enemies deal less damage. So please adjust your Sigil of Power level. Don't just get 2120 like me. I forgot to replace it. And next, our auras. So it's Herald of Thunder with Enlighten, Arctic Armor, Tempest Shield, Grace, and Lone Flicker Strike, because it's not supposed to be. Okay. This is an empty socket. Okay, feel free to do whatever. And our 6 link for in our helmet, because we're running a Shako. Frenzy of Onslaught, Volatility, Multi-Strike, Endurance Charge, and our last is Steel Skin, Life Tap, Dash, and Automation. I'm running Dash because of Grasping Vines. So Dash will dispel all Grasping Vines, unlike Leap Slam will slow you down while flying. Okay, onto the equipment, to the gear. Fractured Lightning Damage Fancy Foil. Doesn't have to be a foil, can be a claw. So it's T1 lightning damage, fractured. Essence is also good. Attack speed, crit chance, crit multi, and most important is hits can't be evaded. And our shield, I'm running a +1 frenzy shield. The mods can vary whichever you prefer. I'm running additional physical damage reduction, all max res, fire res, flat damage, and life. So we are not going to scale armor or evasion in this build because I'm using this build as a T17 farmer, and I'm running the less defenses node and less defense per frenzy charge, like 90% of the time whenever possible. So having a little bit of armor is okay, but we are mostly focusing on flat PDR and endurance charges for our physical damage reduction. And for our helmet, Forbidden Shako. So this is the main item to have in our build. I'm running a level 30 for added lightning with level 6 Vile Toxins. Level 6 Vile Toxins grants you 5% more damage per poison on the enemy, capping at around 30% more. So we do not convert all our damage. We have a little bit of physical. So with 22.72 APS and a chance to poison node on the tree, we can actually poison enemies and use the 30% more damage. You can use a level 35 with out a usable 6 link, or use a level 32, 33 with a usable 6 link, whichever is fits your budget or is available in the market. So when running the cold version, you run the ice bite version, which is like 10 times more expensive. So we'll get to that in another video. For our body armor, melee hits have 45, endurance charge every 13 seconds. This will sustain our endurance charges, so that you will run 13 you will run 13 charges as long as you don't die or reset the instance. Running life, suppress life, reservation efficiency, 7% PDR, and avoid. For our gloves, we are running Abhorrent Interrogation with +1 Frenzy charge. +1 Frenzy is important here, and Abhorrent because we are running Doriani, and enemy resistances are -189. Penetration has no value, and curses do not have an effect because it is locked at -189. So this glove gives us around 60% more damage because it's 4% increased elemental damage for each withered. Withered is capped at 15. So this is around 60% more. Another option will be Algor Mortis. For Algor Mortis, you have sap, which is around 20% less damage dealt, a bit of res, a bit of ES, a bit of evasion, and enemies in your chilling areas take 30% increased lightning damage. This can scale up to 35. So for your chilling areas, you have two sources. First off, your Arctic armor earlier, and you can grab a vortex. So plopping a vortex gives you around 30%, 35% more. This is a more multiplier, by the way, because take 35% increased. So you can run Algor Mortis for a more defensive option. I'm running Abhorrent because more damage. And for our boots, Ralakish Impatience, second most important item, counts as having maximum number of frenzy charges, so we have consistent damage across the board. For our amulet, we're running Ashes of the Stars. Frenzy of Onslaught scales immensely from quality. Every 10% quality is 1% more damage, 1% more attack speed from frenzy charges. So this 29%, you can run 27% or higher because you have 23 from the skill gem. If you're running a 2120, please get the 30%. So this gives us a lot of damage. As you can see, the hit DPS is 41.7% more. Some people run Yoke for resistances. I prefer Ashes because more damage. Disciple of the Unyielding gives us 8% increased damage per endurance charge. We have 13, so that's a lot of damage. And our endurance charge on kill, which we can sustain because of our body armor and later in the tree. So for our ring, you can run any frenzy charge ring +1. I'm running right now is Herald of Thunder, 54% increased buff effect, 63% increased lightning damage, and no life mod, take note. So you can run the increased lightning damage and other mod like increased lightning res while affected by Herald of Thunder. It's much cheaper and actually fits the build. Increased buff effect gives me around 3 to 4% more damage, so it's not much. You can swap it out. And then Calandra's Touch, 2 times 2. And lastly, Olesia's Delight gives us +1 frenzy charge and converts our frenzy to affliction. With Ralakesh, we benefit from the maximum amount of frenzy, so we can use Olesia's to use frenzy and affliction at the same time. So affliction charges, for people that do not know, it's 8% more non-ailment effect for each charge. Since we have 13, that's around 104% more non-ailment effect. So it guarantees perma-sap, perma-shock, perma-chill, and max shock to be notable against T17 bosses and Ubers, which is not easily attainable since running a lightning build like this with very high APS usually. For our flasks, we're running a Quicksilver Flask for Genesis. This is optional. You can run any flask. Diamond Flask for the crit. And Oak Branch Tincture of Ease. So, Rage on melee weapon hit. This generates our Rage and melee weapon attack speed. And lastly, Bottled Fate. So, Bottled Fate for the stragglers, for the bosses. So, this gives us 43.1. Increases our crit by a lot. For when you're running maps, another option is a Riot's End. So just so you have more better clear. For our jewels, we have large cluster jewel. This is Devastator, Feed the Fury, Smite the Weak. So when selecting the jewels, just make sure that the Devastator or others such as, well, I can't remember anything right now. Just Feed the Fury and Smite the Weak or Martial Prowess should be at the front so that you don't need to allocate 2 points to the back. And that's, you have 2 there. For our Forbidden Flesh, Forbidden Flame combo, we are getting First to Strike, Last to Fall from the champion, Adrenaline, Intimidate, and you can use others if you like. I prefer this. So you can also swap it out for just rare jewels. Here we have a rare jewel. For example, it's melee damage, double crit multi, increased life. Next is Sublime Vision. It's +1 frenzy charge while affected by grace, and other auras are disabled or cannot be used. So that's why we are running only grace for that +1 frenzy charge. Most of the T17 maps have reduced aura effect. That's why we are not scaling grace, evasion, nor armor, because we want to be able to be run those maps without any penalty. For our Elegant Hubris, I'm running 73680 Caspiro. Caspiro for Supreme Ostentation. This is very important for the next part of the build. And here we have 10% increased damage per endurance, per 40% crit multi, per frenzy, and per frenzy. Since this is 30% increased damage per charge, and we have around 13, this is about 390% increased. 50 lightning rest here, and 40 crit multi again. So we use an Impossible Escape, Elemental Equilibrium, to allocate these 5 nodes without traveling all the way, and spend about more or less around 12 points. And next is our cluster, Natural Affinity, Nature's Patience. So this gives us 1% less damage taken per Grasping Vine and 2% chance to deal double damage per Grasping Vine. So when waiting for people to, waiting for the monsters to face, you get more Grasping Vines and deal more damage and get more tanky. Since Leap Slam does not remove Grasping Vines, you can Leap Slam to retain most of your Grasping Vines while still moving from location to location. If you need to move really fast or dispel all Grasping Vines, that's why you have Dash. And next is our Light of Meaning here. So Light of Meaning here is the Chaos Rest version, gives us about 60 Chaos Rest. And lastly, my favorite jewel is Rational Doctrine. That's why we are running Caspiro, so we can run this jewel. So running this jewel, you need equal amounts of strength and int. So with equal amount of strength and int, you have Consecrated Ground and Profane Ground that lingers for 4 seconds. So this jewel alone gives us increased life regen and 50% reduced curse effect. Profane Ground gives us increased critical strike chance and increased curse effect. I have one with implicit global crit multi, 4% cold rest. So to be able to run equal strength and int and lower dex, we use Caspiro, then convert most of our attributes into tattoos. This will also help with our gearing for resistance, since we almost run no rares. And onto the build, we path here, get a jewel socket here. Non-Val strikes target 1 additional enemy. Tribal Fury Splash, because this is a strike skill that hits 1. And we get Golem's Blood. Gain 1 region melee hit, sustains our Oak Branch Tincture when it's off, so that we always have 30. And here we have 100% increased charge duration. This is used for the endurance charge, so the 13 seconds cycle that your body armor gives, it always ensures that it refreshes your endurance charge. Iron Reflexes, I have a Determination Merc. Although we're running non-auras or reduced PDR, it's okay. It's an extra point. You can put it anywhere else. Here we have Assured Strike, melee damage, And this is very important. Monster cannot block your attack. So when running, I'm currently running Risk. So sometimes monsters have block chance. So this is preparation. And here we have the clusters. Blood Soak Blade. Since Overleech is a thing here in Slayer, we can run Blood Soak Blade and run the tincture for around 10 to 20 seconds before turning it off. And here we have Rune Graft of Treachery, 15% RMR, and auras from your skills which affect allies also affect enemies. We're running Grace, so it's supposed to give enemies evasion rating, but we're running hits can't be evaded. So this is free 15% RMR. If you don't have Rune Graft of Treachery, you can run 12% RMR here in Mana Mastery. Here I'm running Elemental Mastery, reflected elemental damage taken, 60% reduced. So if you're running Awakened Elemental damage with attacks, you can skip this whole wheel and invest into crit here to get more Chaos Res. Here we have Runegraph of the Soul Wick. This is not intended. And Chance to Suppress. So we currently have 95% spell suppression chance, but this is lucky. So currently we have 77. 77 with lucky gives you around 95%. So instead of allocating and investing more into this tree, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 points, I'll just get 1% and trust in my luck for 95%. Going up, we have Insta Leech Deer, Clever Thief, my favorite, and Frenetic, plus our tattoos. So that's about it. When scaling for the calcs, Frenzy of Onslaught, just to give a quick rundown, we have 137 to 1669 added lightning damage. As you see, ton is given from added lightning damage here, the Shako, and Herald of Thunder 168 and 146. This is, I think, I cannot remember. So we have main hand total increase of 820%. So this 390% is our Caspiro, 208% is from Disciples, and Feed the Fury and other such as forgot to take main. Yes, and yeah, there you go. We have main Smite the Weak, Feed the Fury. This is from our cluster jewels and some small nodes and jewels. For our main hand total more, we have 130% attack, 10% per frenzy charge. This is from the base onslaught, from the base frenzy charge. Your search and melee stun is another 52. This is rage with berserk. We have very high uptime on max rage berserk because of the tincture, which is 5 rage on melee hit. 5% power poison stacked with vile toxins from our Shako. Multi-strike, Bane of Legends, and lastly multi-strike penalty. So here you can see our DPS with 22 APS, and we're running crit with poison, don't need no accuracy, insta leech. And for our defenses, we're running 13 endurance charges with a lot of flat PDR. So this is our counter against high physical damage. For our resists, we're running +2 on the shield. That's why we have 77, 56 chaos, and this can be higher. So remember that you have Light of Meaning, so you can allocate more points there and get more chaos res count. Notably the crit. So we have a bit of block. So block 24 and spell block 26. Damage avoidance, we do not have any. So here's our suppression effect 53. And let's move on to our other defenses. Other avoidance, so we have shock avoid 100% from Tempest Shield, 100% freeze from Arctic Armor, 100% chill from tattoos, and the rest we have 44%. You can scale this to 100%. Feel free to do whatever or how you want. You can use the shield to gain more avoidance and to cap it out. And 100% bleed avoidance, steel skin, doesn't matter. Poison, this is kind of tricky. Sometimes when I run poison maps, because of Progenesis, I might die. So just grab a life flask with immunity to poison. Or if you like, you can swap out some of your tattoos for chance to avoid being poisoned. That's where I got my 30%. So you can cap this at 100. Corrupted Blood Immune from Ralakesh. Blind, doesn't matter. We have hits can't be avoided. And finally, stun avoidance is from the 3 tattoos and our body armor. So that's about it. This is the build that I am running. I made this guide so that people can make their own iterations. This is not meant for people to copy and play, and um, that's about it. Just do whatever you like with this build. It's not supposed to be the best or the top one build. It's my build. I made this from the ground, and I love this build. So, thank you.